Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is David Novak. I never had any special feelings for this book, Cheaper by the Dozen. It came into my life twice as a grammar school student. Once, I believe the teacher read it aloud to the class, and once we were assigned it or we read it in class. And so far I'm rereading this now, and so far there's been really no surprises. Most things, as I come upon them, I recall pretty well, even though I did not remember them per se. So I was looking forward to this chapter, however, Chinese cooking, because I had no special familiarity with China or Chinese culture or even Chinese cooking back in those days, and I do more so now. And so I thought, well, there might be some interest here. And unfortunately, there is really not. The title, to begin with, is a misnomer. It's got nothing to do with Chinese cooking. It features a Chinese cook. The family goes out to California, where they stay with mother's parents, and this couple is very well to do, and they have a Chinese chef. Now, as the Chinese came from California and started moving eastwards, they often found jobs as chefs. If you go to any of the national parks out west, you're liable to find some display about the Chinese chef or chefs that were there doing the cooking. And so obviously these well-to-do folks were able to afford a Chinese chef. Now that's not really unusual. Probably the best cooks even today continue to be Chinese cooks. So they were rich people. But Chinese cooking does not figure at all. I'll read you a little bit of just sort of the stereotyped portrayal, a little bit of soft-core racism here, which would have completely gone over my head when I was a child, but now I think I can see it a little bit more clearly. Bill had found a devoted friend and ally in the kitchen, where Chu Wang's word was law. Chu Wang was set in his ways and unamenable to suggestion. He was sinister-looking and uncommunicative and had a terrible temper. He understood English fairly well, except when someone tried to criticize him or tell him what to do. In such cases, he launched into hissing Chinese, brandished skillets, and then turned his back and walked away. He was a wonderful cook, of course. It was tacitly understood in the Mahler family that the less one knew about his cooking methods and what he put into the food, the better for all concerned. Of the Mahlers, only Aunt Eleanor, who planned the menus, ventured into the kitchen. We children were advised to keep out of it unless we wished to invoke Oriental wrath, die in agony from some exotic poison, touch off a Tong war, or go through life with the responsibility of harakiri hanging over our heads. So I can't imagine that this can possibly be taught in the classroom today. And the whole focal point of this chapter is to lead, well, I'm going to spoil a couple little anecdotes from the book for you. Early on, there was the Kaduka horn incident. The father of the family, the patriarch, thought it was funny to lure the children into looking under the hood of the car, and then he would blow the horn, and it would scare the willies out of them. And then one time, the car had broken down, and father had his hood under the car, and the little boy goes and blares the horn, Kaduka, Kaduka, and of course father hits his head and winds up burning his wrist or something like that. Ha ha ha. And of course father was livid, but years later he would recount the story and laugh about it. Um, that kind of practical joking doesn't appeal to me in any which way. So there's almost exactly the same anecdote in this chapter is told regarding the Chinese chef. Now I can imagine he was having to deal with these obnoxious little white kids, who were acting all superior. And at certain points when I think it was Billy got too annoying, he would grab the kid and, I mean, if he had the oven open, and hold him by the oven and say, I'm going to put you in here and cook you. Of course, this is all detailed in very careful pidgin English. And then at one point, this man has the oven open, and he's leaning in. He's fiddling with some meat or something that's in there, and the boy comes up behind him and kind of pushes him in the oven, burns him a little bit. And it's all treated as a yuck anecdote, and one can but feel empathy for this poor man trying to earn a living and having to deal with all this bullshit. Pardon my language. So that's what that chapter was about. I have started cousin Galbraith's book, and I find resonances between the two. The world of the efficiency expert, the motion study expert, is of course the world that would become the new industrial state. So it goes reading Gilbreth and Galbraith. Thank you for stopping by my channel.